Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Brendan Plays. This is Total Extreme Wrestling for our All Elite Wrestling Say, week 4 of March 2022, which means it's pay-per-view time. The house always wins, and it is time for our, well, what I consider to be one of our minor pay-per-views. One of those pay-per-views that, you know, it's not our big 4, it's not the Double or Nothings or the All Outs, but it's another roadblock, it's another pit stop along the way to one of those big events. And it is the house always wins, which, you know, last time we had this pay-per-view, it went pretty well, I'd say, and this time we're hoping to replicate that here in this episode. And we do have the card fully booked. We've got quite a few pre-show matches as well, so it's a fully stacked card, and we're hoping that we do deliver. So I think we're going to be pretty happy with how this one plays out. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit concerned with the main event. Samoa Joe, is he good enough to be the main event? I don't know. Fingers crossed that it still works out okay. But let's jump straight into it, shall we? So let's take a look. This is the House Always Wins on the pre-show. It's a 5-on-5 match as a way to get everyone kind of involved here. Brian Cage, Will Hobbs, Dustin Rhodes, and Best Friends team up to take on Jay Lethal, Jay Kager, Ricky Starks, Tony Nese, and Kip Sabian. 60 rated match. It was the heel team winning. Jay Lethal's team grabbed the victory in the end. So I wonder if that will play any sort of part long term, and maybe any sort of storyline, any popularity sort of shifts. We'll have to wait and see. But the best in the match looks like it was Jay Lethal, Brian Cage, 65. Jay Lethal, second best with 63. So yeah, Brian Cage has been really good. I know in real life he's forming some sort of stable. He's got Tully Blanchard there. For me, I don't know what to do with Brian Cage, especially as a babyface. I mean, you know, someone like him would have been probably good in Christian's new group, for example, instead of Lance Archer, but you've got to find something for Cage because his performances have been pretty good. Jay Lethal's another one that, you know, he may get lost in the shuffle with a lot of other top-tier talent coming in as of late, so we're trying to keep him pretty strong. He's obviously got a Ring of Honor presence there, so we're happy with that, but nonetheless, not a bad little match to kind of get the crowd warmed up and ready to go. Next up, we did a similar thing here with the women, and they had a 67 rated match. It was an eye candy match, let's be real. But wow, what a performance here. So in the end, Ruby Soho, Hikaru Shida, and Athena teamed up to defeat Britt Baker and the Inspiration. So wow, there you go. Athena picked up the win, the pinfall win, when she pinned Cassie Lee. Some hell of really good performances here. I mean, Hikaru Shida 69, Athena 62. The worst of the match was Ruby Soho 56, Jessie McKay 72, Cassie 72, and Britt Baker 75. Wow. Yeah, I don't think Ruby Soho is really suited to this style of match. I'm surprised that Shida and Athena performed as well as they did. They more just, you know, get in there and wrestle and have good actual quality matches, where the other team, the heel team, the Inspiration, Britt Baker, yeah, an eye candy match probably is more the way to go for them. But look, 67 for a women's match, that's one of the best we've ever had, let's be honest. So I'm pretty happy with how that one played out. And if, you know, if the women can keep going down that pathway, they might finally get over. It's been a 2-year battle. We might finally have figured out how to do it. Paul White gives his predictions on tonight's main event. Yeah, look, again, Paul White, what do you do with him? You know, he's a giant. It's hard to get him in there and wrestle because, you know, you can't have him lose. It just, you know, a 7-foot monster, like, there's no one on the AEW roster can really beat him, you know, other than maybe a Lance Archer, which we've done. There's not many other guys that would make sense to go over a Paul White. So it is a little bit tricky, especially, you know, he's a babyface as well. You could turn him heel and he could be a heel enforcer for somebody. Could he lead his own group? It wouldn't make sense because he's so huge, he just takes away from anyone else in the group. So he's really the only way you could get him in an in-ring capacity is kind of be that, you know, muscle piece for somebody. And I don't know if a babyface team needs it. You could have a legendary veteran sort of team as a babyface run and he could be part of it. That could work. I don't know, but look, he's on commentary, still doing that, and I'm kind of utilizing him a little bit with just doing some interviews, just kind of giving his insights and analysis on different things, and I think it's not a little bad segment here or there for him to do at the moment, whilst we kind of figure out what the heck do we do with him. I don't really know. Orange Cassidy defeated Peter Avalon in the pre-show, 12-minute match. Cassidy 74, he's really starting to perform quite high. Pit Avalon was decent, 48 as well, 68 rated match. Good stuff. Let's open up the show with the first match on the card. It is for the Tag Team Championships. The House of Black defeating the Young Bucks to defend their titles for the very first time. Darby Allin, 80 rated performance. He had a crazy bump in this match as well. Malachi Black, 81. The Young Bucks were the stars, 93 and 90. Look, good all round. Everyone in this match was good. Everyone 80 plus. Only got an 82 rated match, which I suppose, you know, there was a lack of psychology which hurt the match a little bit. So that was a little bit disappointing, to be honest. I would think, you know, with all those great performances, you might be looking at 86, 87 maybe if you got lucky. But 82 is still very good. You can't complain with that. I'm happy with the way it went. Look, I like the House of Black, and our different version of it is a babyface group, that cool kind of spooky, but just has that edgy feel to it that people can kind of get behind. Darby Allin involved in it as well, so it's a different version that we do in our game. But in the back of my head, I kind of really want to get the championship belts on FTR. I just think they are so red hot in real life. We haven't utilized them good enough in our game. They've just been on the cusp and close to getting the titles. I'd love to get the belts on them, so I'm a little bit torn. You know, House of Black can have a bit of a run and an FTR take it off them. But do I want to wait that long? Maybe. Maybe it's worth kind of, you know, pushing it and waiting until maybe Fyter Fest or maybe All Out rather than do it at Double or Nothing, for example. But yeah, that's kind of where my head's at with the tag division. I want to get FTR the belts at some point. But the House of Black still are performing really well, and this is a great way to get Darby Allin over. This, you know, association with Malachi has worked really well for him. Kenny Omega taunts Samoa Joe ahead of tonight's main event, 85 rated promo. Yeah, trying to boost up that storyline before it's all said and done. Michael Nakazawa, being Kenny Omega's assistant, is there as well, holding Kenny Omega's championship belt while Omega does all the talking. 85 for that one. Alright, so we begin the All-Atlantic Championship Tournament, the first match in the tournament. It's a 74 rated one between Park and Buddy Matthews. 86 from Park, Matthews at a 70. So first time we have the All-Atlantic Championship here being featured, and this is to get the first points in the tournament. Park grabbing the victory. A 74 rated match. I mean, it could definitely have been a lot better. Maybe if we had more of a storyline involvement, that might have helped, so that's probably a mistake on my behalf. But look, a 74 is a good, solid pay-per-view match. I'm happy with that, and that's a good signs of what is to come for this tournament. And Buddy Matthews performing at 70 is a really positive sign for him as well, and where he could potentially end up here in AEW. He could definitely be a solid upper mid-card sort of player for us going forward. Next up, we had Jade Cargill taking on Chris Statlander in a 63 rated match. It was an eye candy as well. I feel like that was the way to get the most out of this one. Jade Cargill 70, Chris Statlander 60, so solid, strong match. Jade Cargill defends her women's championship once again over Chris Statlander, this time one-on-one. So 63, good, solid match. As I said, Jade Cargill has been doing okay as champion. Obviously, she's got the star power, the presence to really go far. Her in-ring skills aren't great, so utilizing her in this sort of scenario is probably the way to go going forward. And look, yeah, good match. Can't complain with that. Now we need to figure out what's next for Jade. Do we try and get the belt off her anytime soon, or do we just have her go on a monster run and kind of take care of the competition throughout the year? You got Ruby Soho's really close to potentially taking that championship. Toni Storm's come in as well. Athena's another option as well. Or we could always, you know, go back to Sheeta or Britt Baker. So that we have some really positive, we're in a really positive situation because we have a lot of great women that we could go to. But Jade, you know, for someone like her, it's hard to really book her unless she's got a championship belt, unless she's kind of the key focal point of the division. So you kind of need her in that sort of scenario. And yeah, we just got to have her kind of go through the rest of the competition, I guess. All right, we had the Undisputed Elite taking on the Blackpool Combat Club. And straight away, we've got some bad news. Eddie Kingston sustaining a damaged kneecap. That's not good. That is not good signs. Okay, so in the end, the Undisputed Elite, they got the win. They finally got a win. They've been, you know, beaten majority of the time between these two interactions. Moxley 77, Kingston 58, Bryan Danielson a superstar 94, brilliant. Adam Cole really good 88, Kyle O'Reilly great as well 81, and Bobby Fish 66. So you have to say the Undisputed Elite outperformed the Combat Club. Eddie Kingston took a big bump in this match, which could have led to the injury actually. So yeah, we took a bit of a risk there, and it may not have paid off. Now in real life, Cesaro, now Claudio, looks like he's joined AEW and joined the Blackpool Combat Club, I guess as a full-time member, which I absolutely love. That is a great addition to that group. And I'm very, very tempted to do the same thing for us. Now, we brought him into Ring of Honor, and I was happy for him there. I really liked that spot that he was in, reuniting with Chris Hero, kind of doing the Kings of Wrestling again. It was a nice little fit. He could be the top star of that company. But we could also bring him into AEW without him leaving Ring of Honor, and he could do both, which I think would be a really positive thing for both, different brands at the same time. So I think him joining the Blackpool Combat Club could be a really good addition. If Eddie Kingston's out injured, it might have to be a necessity. So nonetheless, Undisputed Elite grabbed the win. This was the Anarchy in the Arena match, so that potentially could have brought down some performances, being more of a brawling sort of style, but it was just chaos, and yeah, the Elite got the win. So damaged kneecap, that's gonna bring things down a little bit. The women's tag team division argue over who should be the next contenders. So we've got the baddies, we've got the Stretching Crew, Shining Force, and of course the tag team champions of TJ. 39 for that segment, not bad. Just a way to get everyone featured, everyone on the card, doing something. It might help out some sort of popularities, you never know. Okay, up next we had a triple threat tag team match, fatal four-way tag team match rather, to determine the number one contenders for the tag team championships. Well, we already kind of gave this away earlier on. FTR picks up the win. So FTR, they defeat Jurassic Express, the Private Party, and the Hardys in a 72 rated match. Jurassic Express were the last eliminated. The Hardys were, the Private Party were first, then the Hardys, and of course Jurassic Express. Best results in the match. Cash 74, Dax actually a little bit low, 69. That's a bit low for his standards. So FTR, their performances haven't been that amazing. Maybe the fatal four-way scenario took it away from them. Jungle Boy was definitely one of the best, 70. And Jeff Hardy was okay, 67. Matt Hardy, 58. Held up their own, no doubt. Looks like in real life, Jurassic Express, after watching the recent Dynamite Blood and Guts version, they could be finished as a tag team as well, which really hurts our division. I don't think I'll go down that path just yet with them. I don't think Jungle Boy's ready for a singles run for us, but yeah, something I guess we have to maybe consider. But nonetheless, yeah, FTR grabbed the win. I guess we'll head towards FTR versus the House of Black in the near future. Tony Storm is attacked by Superbad. Thunder Rosa steps in to stop the attack. Yeah, Thunder Rosa, for a long time she had that injury for us, that minor injury that basically just ruined her for our whole save. We got rid of that injury, now she's back to potentially being, a top star again. We haven't really booked her to kind of head in that direction, so I'm thinking, some sort of affiliation with Tony Storm for a short-term alliance to take down Superbad might be the pathway we need to go to maybe set up something. You could potentially even go Thunder Rosa and Tony Storm afterwards, or at least set up for a Thunder Rosa singles run of some sorts, get her in the right direction. Alright, we also had the All-Atlantic Championship match here against Rey Fenix and Andrade, which kind of bombed. 66 rated. Rey Fenix 77, Andrade 78. We had this as a technical rated match, and it just wasn't the right time to do it. The crowd were a bit too rowdy, I suppose, and they weren't ready or willing to accept sort of a technical match. So, yeah, poor placement from me. Made a mistake on this one. In the end, Andrade picked up the win to gain the points in the All-Atlantic Championship Tournament. Christian Cage, I think, was ringside. Yes, he was. Sammy Guevara was watching on ringside, and Lance Archer was there as well. So kind of everyone around the ring just kind of watching on. Sammy Guevara, of course, he's a part of the tournament. The other thing I guess you can mention as well, with Claudio coming in, him being in this tournament would make all the sense in the world, wouldn't it? Being in the All-Atlantic Championship Tournament. And technically, there is a couple spots we haven't announced, Samoa Joe and Miro's spot. So Claudio could come in and have another international representative, because that's kind of the issue that we've got. We're struggling to get people in. So we could actually take Samoa Joe out of the tournament and have Claudio in it instead. I feel like I would probably prefer that. And have Joe maybe continue his main event status, you know, his pathway to that, maybe more deal with the elite a little bit further. Something to think about anyways, but that's not for right now. Anyways, Andrade grabs the points and gets the win over Phoenix. Jericho hypes up his match with his match with Adam Page. So they're going to team up tonight. So they're forming a tag team. Jericho's kind of forcing it to happen. Only a 71 promo. That is not Jericho-like. I don't know what the heck happened here. I guess it was only 2 minutes long, so he didn't have enough time to really make this any better. So we didn't have this affect the storyline. So this was just a time filler, another segment just to break things up heading into the next match. And it was Jericho and Page teaming up to take on Proud and Powerful, 74 rated. Adam Page, 74. That's not a good performance from him. Jericho, 68. What is going on? Ortiz, 78. He was the best in the match. Santana, 67. What is happening here? Yeah, it was a 13-minute match. It was a wild brawl. I suppose that's not really suiting Jericho. You'd think that would suit Adam Page, and Ortiz, he got a massive bonus from that. So maybe not the best match for this one, but anyways, a 74. Adam Page and Jericho grabbed the victory as well, so we continue to build towards them maybe teaming up together long term. I don't know. Alright, we've got a hype video for Keith Lee versus Miro. TNT title on the line in this one. Looking forward to it. And it is an 82 rated match. We did it. We did the big plunge, the big move. We were scared about it. Do we do it? Do we go for it? Well, we did. Miro loses to Keith Lee. Keith Lee, well, he had to do whatever it took to beat Miro. He used the ropes for leverage. He sort of cheated a little bit, you know, just because he was so desperate. You know, how do you beat someone like Miro? Well, you got to do whatever you got to do. So it won't affect that, you know, heel sort of status. He'll remain as a babyface. He wins the TNT title. Keith Lee, 78. Brilliant. Miro, unbelievable, 83 as well. Great match, 82. Big tick in my book. Good stuff there. We were hoping this match was going to be really good, and I think it definitely delivered. So Keith Lee's the new TNT champion. We bring the belt down the card just a fraction. It frees up Miro to be a part of the All-Atlantic Championship Tournament, which I do feel like he probably will win, or he'll be very close. He'll probably be in the final, from my early guess. And Keith Lee will try and help bring the title further down and down and down the card. And eventually the All-Atlantic Championship will be of a higher prestige than the TNT title anyway, so this will eventually be a step up for Miro when he gets another championship anyways. Britt Baker and Athena brawl in the locker room, so obviously they had a pre-show match. Now they kind of continue that on here into the locker room 48 to advance that storyline. And here's one of our big matches of the card, CM Punk and MJF in a cage match, 23 minutes. MJF escaped the cage after CM Punk had been taken out by Wardlow. So the idea of this one being in a steel cage was that they're both locked in, no referees are going to be involved, no pinfalls, it's just whoever gets out of the cage. Well, Wardlow figured out a way to get in there and cost CM Punk the match to allow MJF to escape. 83 rated match. I guess this should have been a lot better. I mean, it's a little disappointing. CM Punk only performing at 78, MJF at 83. Seems like this card is really going downhill, isn't it? We had a really strong start, and now we're starting to lose a little bit. Maybe, you know, I guess the crowd is a bit burnt out, so we've had a little bit too long of a pay-per-view. I suppose too many pre-show matches has cost us a few points, unfortunately. So yep, I guess we're going to learn from that as well. So you don't want to have too many pre-show matches if you got already a long 4-hour card. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And I did think about that when booking this show. I thought, oh, I could get penalized for that, but I thought it would be okay. But yeah, we've made a big mistake. The Pinnacle escort MJF out of the arena after screwing over CM Punk, so they make sure that MJF gets out of there safe and sound. So he kind of escapes, runs out of there, gets in the car, gets out of the arena before anyone else can catch him and be pissed off at him. So brilliant plan from MJF. Main event time, Samoa Joe and Kenny Omega, 81 rated match. I guess it delivered. You know, it was one of the better matches on the card. Omega took a big bump in this match to elevate it. He had a 94 rated performance, which was brilliant. Joe was pretty good, 69. I mean, that's not amazing, but it's, you know, it's good enough, and it makes it Kenny Omega's first defense of the World Championship. 81 rated overall. Omega wins. Look, good match. Samoa Joe, perfect sort of opponent for a minor pay-per-view. It's not giving away one of your big, you know, big four pay-per-views. It's not like Kenny Omega and CM Punk, you know, for example. But it's still a good, solid opponent. It's a credible challenger for Kenny. And it's a good match, 81. You can't be too complaining. Can't complain about that one, honestly. I guess we've made a few mistakes in this card that's let us down. We had too many matches, a bit burnt out. Obviously, we screwed up the technical match between Andrade and Phoenix. So we've made some mistakes. In the end, only an 81 rated show. So these are the sort of things that, you know, you got to plan for. You know, you got to realize. And look, you think about Revolution in real life was way too long, you know, and this is another example of that here. We've kind of screwed up this one. This is a minor show. Why is it 4 hours and 5 hours in the end after the pre-show? So it shouldn't have been that long. But we tried to cram everybody onto the card to make them all happy, and because of that, we've sacrificed some show quality. So in the end, 81. Okay, well, let's give Kenny Omega some praise. He was great. Miro, obviously, for dropping the belt and putting over Keith Lee. Have to praise that. And I'll give Bryan Danielson as well. He was awesome in his match, and also, I guess, in the end, was he basically put over Adam Cole and his crew as well. So I'm sure he'll lose some popularity, unfortunately, but we know he'll get it back. Let's now take a look at the results of the pay-per-view. And Cash Wheeler, he's got some praise for Ricky Starks. We had 69,000 viewers on pay-per-view, 69,000 buys. Not bad. That's not too bad. Obviously, it's a minor show. We're not going to use one of our big broadcasters. Now, the downside of this was a damaged kneecap from Eddie Kingston. Now, that could mean anything. That could be a minor injury or it could be major. Let's take a look. 19 days. Okay. All right. We can live with that. That is fine. We will live with that. Thank God. I was not really prepared for any more than that. Now, we talked about Cesaro early on. We will make the plunge. Now, he's already got a contract with Noah. Now, of course, Ring of Honor and CWFH as well. So he's got some suitors. People want him. He's in high demand. 67 popularity. He'd be a perfect fit for the Blackpool Combat Club. Being 41 years of age, he's an older wrestler at this point. So I don't know if he would get the big push, but being associated with that group, I think could only be a good idea. So he wants a big money contract, no doubt about that. So we'll bring him in. I think we'll give him a 2-year deal. We'll give him 20% of the merch and hope that that is enough. Gonna pay him, I guess he's got 2 contracts with us, so we're paying him with Ring of Honor as well. So I thought he was actually going to keep the Cesaro name, just change the spelling of it, because I think he filed a copyright for that. So I thought that was where he's going to go, but he's going to go back to his old name of Claudio. So we'll probably continue with that rather than back to Cesaro. And I suppose if we cared enough, we'll change it in Ring of Honor. I don't know. Nonetheless, let's take a look at some of the fallout from the pay-per-view. Now we'll take a look at some of the guys that may have lost some popularity. One being a Bryan Danielson. Doesn't look like it, you know, 6-man tag, doesn't look like he gained or lost anything, which is okay. Someone like Chris Jericho, I'm getting my concerns. You know, he's gained popularity since this storyline with Adam Page started, but geez, his performances were not good. So CM Punk loses a little bit after losing to MJF, so that won't matter. CM Punk will get that back very, very quickly. No concern there. Moxley, you know, he took a loss as well, so he's just dropping a little bit. Adam Cole, up to 85. So there you go. Adam Cole gaining popularity right all the way up to the top. So he's doing well as well. Park got a win on pay-per-view. He's up to 72. Obviously, Kenny Omega up to 85 after his big victory as well. Adam Page, good showing from him, I suppose. Well, you know, not his best, but was decent, 80 rated. Andrade, no change despite the win. Darby Allin at 62, 63, so he's gaining some more as well. after beating the Young Bucks. No surprise, he's gained a little bit. Keith Lee, he will be the big winner, you'd have to feel. Yes, he started the month at 65, up now to 72. That's a big jump. So we talked about bringing the belt down the card. Well, it's not going to go that much down the card because Keith Lee has got himself that over after beating Miro. So, and speaking of Miro, I suppose, how bad is the result here? He's down to 79.80. Not that big of a loss. You know, losing a couple points and Keith Lee gaining as much as he has, so what? You know, he's done really, really well. So yeah, Samoa Joe, he's up to 70 popularity after the big main event he had. Look, he's been a little bit disappointing. His performances aren't amazing. He's averaging 66 across all companies. But he has had an 82, a 77, and an 81. But the key with that is he's had 3 really good opponents to go along with. So there is a little bit of concern there for Joe. But you know, I still think he's got some value. I'm not sure if he'll have some value as a main event guy. He might have to shift more towards the upper mid. Alright, further down the card, let's take a quick little look. Buddy Matthews obviously had a pay-per-view match, 53 popularity now, so it is growing. And he started at 51 when he first came in, so a couple of good matches. He's been able to get that up a little bit. Kyle O'Reilly obviously had a big win at the pay-per-view. Not too much for change for him, just up to 62 in some areas. So that's good. Bobby Fish, well, he's had some pretty significant progress as of late. Started at 53 in February, over the course of March, 55, 56 at the moment. So there is a bit of movement there, so that's obviously promising. Hopefully he can continue to build off of that. Some other guys like Orange Cassidy, you know, his popularity is around the 50 mark. That's pretty good considering he had a good pay-per-view match. You know, Matt Hardy has dropped a little bit, but it's still fairly okay. Not too much further down the card again. I mean, some of the women, obviously, Anna Jay, she's at mid-40s, which is quite good, surprisingly. Athena at 43, that's kind of what she came in as, so we need to start to build her up. Britt Break at 44. If anything, I think that's more of a drop. Jade Cargill obviously had a good pay-per-view win. 44 everywhere, 51 in the Southeast. So if she was in the Southeast, we could definitely have much better performances out of her. And she has gained quite a bit. So she's up to 4 points this month. That's a big gain. Beating Chris Statlander probably did help on pay-per-view. But Chris Statlander has gained quite a lot too. She's up to 44. So maybe just a really good pay-per-view match was the key to their success. Mercedes Martinez at 41. She was involved last month in their pay-per-view match. You know, maybe she obviously lost some popularity throughout the months, and of course that may have helped originally. But there are some good signs there. Nonetheless, some of our women, we're starting to see more of them into the 40s. And if they're a main event woman, 40 plus is probably where we want them to be. Hopefully soon we can start getting a few into the 50s. We haven't got anywhere near that yet. Only Jade is probably one of the closest. Some other ones like Ruby Soho, she's very much so on her way as well. Even Nyla Rose still has a lot of popularity. Toni Storm, 40 is not too bad. So there's definitely some good signs there, so I'm not too concerned. The women are doing okay. Now, we have to start looking towards what's next. What's next, of course, is Double or Nothing. And that's in May. We're only in March, so we've got quite some time till Double or Nothing, nearly 2 months. So what we might have to do is maybe some TV specials. You know, like for example, in real life, they do Road Rager or Blood and Guts, things like that. So maybe a couple specials just to have some title matches and things like that, because 2 months is a long time without anything really significant happening. Forbidden Door, you know, I don't think we're going to do that in our game, but obviously that could be an option. And also, we've got the tournament. We have the big tournament happening right now, and that's of course for the All Landing Championship tournament. And here's what we can see so far. Park's on 2 points, Andrade's on 2 points. So luckily this table will be really easy for us to kind of track where everyone's at, who needs to face who. We used to have to do that in a spreadsheet. Anyone who watched my TNA playthrough would have known that. So luckily we don't have to do that anymore, thank goodness. But we can obviously track this. I think we can still remove. Yes, we can replace and remove somebody. So we might potentially take out either Sammy Guevara or Samoa Joe and input a Claudio in. I think that could be a really beneficial move. I think Sammy Guevara should be in there. He just has nothing else going on, whereas Samoa Joe, we could at least continue his storyline with the Elite of some sorts and do something there. Because I'd like to get Claudio in there. I think that'd be a really good thing. More of an international flavor as well, rather than Joe and Sammy, who are more just two Americans in there. But that's kind of what we have happening at the moment. We have to start some new storylines, of course. We're going to end a few, and we're going to start really kickstarting our build towards Double or Nothing, which hopefully, fingers crossed, will be one of our best shows. It'll be the 2-year mark we've done here in the SAG, which is pretty crazy. We've got a while to go until we get there, though. In terms of our size as a company, we've done okay. We've gained a couple of points, 74, 75 in the Southwest. Let's advance a day and let's see how we're going after the full month. So we advance a day and now we begin the month of April, and obviously big news straight away. Rey Mysterio's contract is up and the WWE has not offered a renewal. That's surprising, averaging 78 so far this year. We probably will make sure that Rey stays with the WWE. I don't think he will ever leave the WWE again until he retires, so I don't think he'll be going. Tanahashi, he's up as well, his contract. 58 popularity in the US, obviously in Japan, 83. So he would cost a fair bit. He's the IWGP Heavyweight Champion at the moment as well. So over 100,000 a month. Per show is not too bad, but we still have to pay a fairly hefty price to bring him in. Tiger Mask as well is up, and Okada. So all the big guns are up to for a new renewal. 60 pop for Okada, 85 in Japan. So yeah, I mean, if we want to try and make a play at maybe even bringing them in on a written potential basis, but I'm sure New Japan, yeah, they're offering him a massive contract, 160,000 per month. We're not going to get anywhere near that, but hey, we might throw an offer at them anyways. And Shinsuke Nakamura, his contract is up as well, and the WWE not going to renew him. Now, he's a guy I could see definitely leaving the WWE when his contract is up. But obviously still with them at the moment, so we'll keep him there. Sami Zayn as well, Ishii as well. I mean, this is crazy. All the big stars are up, so we have a lot to kind of play around with. Kenta, yeah, Becky Lynch. Okay, yeah, this is crazy. So lots to kind of look at there and fix up. So plenty to take a look at. But what I want to do is advance the new month and just check our finances real quickly. $862,000 gain, which is a little bit down from 1.4 last month, but still pretty solid. Merchandise-wise, CM Punk pulling in over $1 million worth of merchandise, which is crazy. Next best, Bryan Danielson, 264, Moxley, 120, Jericho, 94. And yeah, look, some of the other guys are kind of lacking a little bit. Sammy Guevara probably surprised at 52. He's up there. Jeff Hardy's still going strong. Keith Lee and Samoa Joe bringing in quite a decent amount. Darby Allin's is very low, I suppose, considering his popularity. You'd think maybe he'd get a bit more, but yeah, so nonetheless, some good signs anyways. Still making quite a bit of money from our merchandise sales, which, you know, I think has been the real key. You know, 2.1 million last month in terms of merchandise. That's been the key to actually making money. Ever since we brought in CM Punk, our money has actually increased a lot. Yes, the ticket sales have helped a lot, but I think that the merchandise has probably been the real key to gaining as much money as we had as of late, which is great. And I think CM Punk's pretty much just thanked for that on his own. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, so much to unpack for next time. Look at all these contracts we have to deal with. MJF, he's up as well. We'll sort all these out. Oh god, there's a lot. We'll sort them all out. Thanks so much, guys, for watching. Hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, leave a like on it and subscribe to see more. We'll be back with another one very soon.